Hey everybody, this is Stefano from Hideous Divinity, and you're watching RichardMetalFan.
Hey, what's up, guys? Episode 234 of Richard Metal Fan Interviews, calling from Zoom, and I'm here with my man Stefano Franceschini from Hideous Divinity. How you doing today, man? Great to be able to have you on my show.
Oh, thank you so much, Richard. It's actually it's the pleasure is mine. It's great talking to you.
Anytime, anytime. It's great to have you on. So, kind of like the format is, I want to talk about like your musical history and sort of do a rundown of your discography, but take me back to young Stefano. So, kind of growing up in Italy, what were the first bands that got you into metal? What made you want to slap at a bass?
Yeah, it's a good question. Because I grew up in a very musical family. I had two older brothers, and I was literally raised with metal. I always find it funny, like to tell the story. Because my mom used to tell me, told me that uh, when I wasn't even one, like I was probably like a few months old, but I would literally refuse to eat unless one, the video clip by Metallica was on. And it's weird if you think about it because it's kind of a very dark video clip. And so I was immersed in metal almost, like all day long. And so the first bands that I was exposed to were, like the classics, the big four. So Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer, Iron Maiden, of course. And but when it comes to when it came to you know deciding actually thinking about picking up an instrument, I would say Megadeth and Iron Maiden were the two that that were just bands that made me think like, oh, I want to do that kind of stuff. And so I started learning, the some Megadeth songs, like the classic Harmon, Steve Harris as Galloping Styles. That's pretty much how it all started.
All right. And so kind of like doing my research on Metal Archives, I believe your first band was called Ghouls. Tell me about that because
Ghouls.
I'm digging deep.
That's
Like
right. That's right.
nobody ever really talks about this. So tell me about
It's
Ghouls.
cool. It's so cool. That's why I'm super like happy and excited about like like talking all about all of this. And no, thank you for that. So Ghouls, yeah, that's also a very funny story because that's my brother's band. I mean, that's it used to be my brother's band. So we disbanded. But yeah, so of course the band was formed way before I joined them because I'm 35. Was born in '89, and the band I think they actually came together after a Morbid Angel show in Rome, 95, 96, something like that. And my brother was like, "No, we have to, like we had to form a band together." So yes, my that was my brother Max, the eldest, who was the vocalist. So he asked my middle brother, my second brother Fabrizio, to play bass, and they also gathered a guitar player and a drummer. And so that's how the band was born. And fast forward, so that was 1996. Fast forward to 2007 and 8. So we're looking for a bass player. I had just turned like 18, and then I joined them. So we recorded the one and only full length together
Until It Bleeds.
until it bleeds. Yeah, that's correct. You really did your homework. So it was cool. I mean, it was super underground. It was right before the whole the whole scene kind of turned, the whole community kind of turned digital, if you know what I'm saying. Because we we released the album when MySpace was still a thing, and so we kind of still like demo traded, sort of, so to say. So it was, we would talk to each single fan, and of course there were already like promoters, emails, and all kinds of stuff. Because it was the end of the first decade of the 2000s, but it wasn't as easy as it is today to just arrange a show, like even a tour. And so we received like a few offers about touring, for example, like Russia and Ukraine back in 2009 with Holy Moses, but it was like a weird lineup of then and nothing came out of it. But then we did this kind of weird split tour with Hate and Blood Red Throne. The shows were cool, but like we did 4 or 5 shows in like 10 days and in a week in 10 days. Then it was a couple weeks break, and then we joined the tour again. So it was really badly arranged, but so that was cool. I mean, we did play a bunch of shows, local shows, Italian shows, and this European, but there was nothing like like today. And we were in that tech savvy, like and then of course the guitar player Antonio, he went on to form the Deceptionist. And I actually kind of wrote an entire album that never saw the light of day because we couldn't find again the members. But that was a very good parenthesis. Yeah, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, because I was listening to Until It Leads earlier, and I thought your bass playing on there was just frantic on there, and especially like the like songs like especially the opening song
Thank you.
Menstrual Vaginal Cry just has like blasting riffs, and even like
That's
like
that's right. That's right.
yeah, and also like To Bitch or Not to Bitch is just another kick-ass
That's all
song.
my brother. That's all my brother liked. He was like the lyrical mastermind, the concept maker. But no, it's a very kind of straightforward death metal, but with a kind of a techno death metal, you know, color in it. It wasn't that kind of crazy tech, like necrophages or quantum possession or Archspire style like kind of tech death. But yeah, we like to play a few notes here and there. But yeah, thanks for your words.
Anytime, man, and I know you know like you like apparently the band's been on like hold since 2012. Is there any chance of reviving it or nah?
No, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I would have to like dig super deep, and I don't think neither me or my brother has the time because he's a full-time dad and he works long hours, and I'm super busy with my PhD and all that kind of stuff, and it is Divinity, so it would be maybe I don't know like some kind of I think um the I think the distro guy that kind of launched this. I think it's doing some sort of a reprint of the old demos. I'm talking about the 1990s demos. So if something like that, you know, will eventually happen, I'll make sure to let you know. But
Yeah,
in terms of like reforming the band, like I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm sorry.
yeah, and you mentioned like you had like an album that's been shelved. Like, will that ever see the light of day, or just will it sort of like be hidden in the dark?
Oh yeah, exactly. It's a very good metaphor. It's yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Then during that time, were you like doing any bands after that after Ghoul or what was that like you were doing in the meantime?
Yeah, there was a time where, well, I mean, I actually kind of found a couple of members. Uh, One was a drummer from one of my very like teenage years projects, and we kind of did like we met for practice quite a few times, and we were actually rehearsing those hitting songs. I also found a guitar player, but it was one of those things that kind of weren't kind of destined to be fully, like realized. But anyway, so I also temporarily joined this Dream Theater cover band. So I kept busy a bit with that. and then the call from Enrico from Hideous, the guitar player from Hideous Divinity, came in, and it was like, we're actually, what why don't you audition, um, you know, for the band? We're looking for a bass player, and that was a couple years after Ghouls disbanded. We played our last show in 2010, and Rico and the rest of the Haters Divinity guys asked me to join them in August to 2012. So yeah, 2 years later, and that's how I joined them.
Yeah, but tell me about like making your first record with the band Cobra Verde Day. I thought that was a really great album. So, what was like the recording process for like being that was like your first record with Hideous Divinity?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think no, yeah. I tracked bass at the home studio, Enrico's home studio. Um, and then we went to Stefano Morabido's studio for reamping and mixing and doing the rest of the production, the drums, the vocals. Um, but I was super excited. I was a little bit nervous because it wasn't my first album, but it was like, the first and last time that I recorded was for Ghouls, and that was 2008. And it was a very kind of old school method, almost no like editing, like just try and play as much as you can in one take, that kind of stuff. Again, I know we're talking about 2008 and not like the 80s, but I think it was just we were conceptually doing different things. So in terms of that side of things, I felt a little more relaxed, but it was also my first record with a semi-professional band, and because the Haters Unit already had the record, we had just toured Russia with Discarnate, and we played a bunch of shows in Europe, and so that was cool. It was there were there were a couple of songs like the opener that was kind
Yeah.
of challenging because this crazy sweet part at the end, and it was what because it was very rewarding and kind of scary at the same time because that was one of our staples. I mean that stayed in our set list for quite a like a few years.
Great
So I was
opener.
like, okay, yeah, thanks, man. And
Yeah.
it was also very fun to play live because they had this very this fading kind of build up intro, and it's got the breakdown part that worked very effectively, um, show wise. But then there were those tricky parts that I had to master to play them properly, like on stage. And I was like, yeah, fuck, I had to play that now. But
Yeah.
yeah, overall it was a great experience for sure.
Yeah, yeah, especially like every song's all pretty different. Like the title track has like that like very light intro, and then Kijin, is a very slower like leading part over into like the last song, which is the Ripping Corpse cover, The Last and Only Son. I thought that was a really good cover. I've had Enrico on before, and I might have asked him this, but for you, what made you guys decide to do a cover of that song in particular?
You know, he, I mean, Enrico has this philosophy with covers. He always likes to pick kind of those songs that he either grew up listening to or they're not, like the just kind of deep cuts. For example, I think no, we didn't. No, there was no cover on the first one, but yeah, we did the Whipping Corpse one on the Cobra Verde, and that we cover Sinister, I think, on Advenience. Yeah, but it was also kind of a medley because the ending part was from another song. So he likes to experiment a lot, and like I said, he likes to dig super deep. But then of course, I mean, with Simulacrum, of course, we cover Machine Head and Mayhem. That we're not talking about underground bands. but the way that he kind of refashions and restyles the songs. So he likes to, I think, the less than only one. I said the title correctly. Oh my gosh, I need to remember the name. But yeah, I think it was a very, how do you say, like a kind of a pioneer song considering when it came out, and also because I think we were all pretty much friends with the DMAC, um, the other band on Unique Leader from the member of Rip and Corpse. If I'm not mistaken, Eric Rutan was on Rip and Corpse, I
Yeah.
guess, or something like that. Yeah, yeah. So he just loved that kind of sound, and so he just wanted to bring it kind of bring it to life with the more modern kind of sounding tone and emphasis. So yeah, it was fun, and it was pretty much like rewriting the whole song, and that's pretty much what happens. Even with the Coheed and Cambria cover that we did on the EP on LV46, that's
Oh.
the same principle kind of applies.
Yeah. And this year does mark 10 years of Cobra Verde. They got to think, Stefano, 10 years since your first recording with the band. And man, how do you feel about it now,
You're
like
making me
10
feel
years
old,
later?
man.
Yeah,
Well,
sorry.
no, no, sorry. How do you think? How do you feel about this whole like the get like 10 year, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean it's been a hell of a ride so far, and we're all. I mean, I couldn't wish uh for a better band for. I mean, actually for a better family, and I'm saying that quite literally because also my kind of. I mean not officially, but de facto brother-in-law because I've been dating. I mean, actually, I've been with um, his sister for almost 10 years now. We live together, and he actually lives right across from our place. So it's literally family at this point, and we have a very strong connection. And
Yeah.
the things that we did together, I'm super proud of. You mentioned cover video, which is of course the one of the things, you know, I'm the proudest of because of course that was my first record with the band. But I could also mention the tour that we did with Cannibal Corpse, the festivals that we played, and the other tours. The first time that um, you know, we came to the US, and were you at the Atlanta show that we
Yeah.
played with Crypt Flops? Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because I think we first met on the Devastation tour with Aborted and
Yeah, I remember that.
Cyclops. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like June. It was super hot. Yeah, it was June 2018. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like Atlanta, we get the nickname Hot Atlanta because it's hot as fuck fucking Georgia
Well,
sometimes.
it makes sense. It makes sense. But I mean, both shows because yeah, those were the only two times I went to Georgia. But I mean, they were freaking cool. Even though the second time we were in Atlanta, the venue was kind of small. The atmosphere was sick. It was I love the whole atmosphere. But anyway, um, so yeah, I'm also very, you know, COVID was kind of I mean, for the whole music industry, of course, but that kind of made us like reconnect even more. And there was like I think a couple of spots, in this whole period where things weren't like kind of looking that bright, but after in the end we just well we pulled it off, and then we released the EP, and then we started working on what will form actually the material would be for
Yeah,
the anesthetic for
which
the new record. So
which
yeah,
are getting there.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a very positive experience for sure. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
But I
great so
also
far. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also know you also do some session work because in 2015 you hooked up with the band Viral, your fellow Italians, and you did played bass on their
Yeah,
album
it's a
Organic Universe.
yeah.
Tell me about like that. How'd you end up playing bass on that album?
I yeah, I think they hit me up on like on social media. They asked me for one to play bass for their project that's very obscura sounding. So I was immediately hooked up with their sound, and it was also super fun because also Julio, his very former drum was is on that record, and I also have a very good memory of the time. I think yeah, it was summertime, yeah, summer 2015, and it was I don't know, I was quite happy with myself. I was happy at work, and also this huge like soccer head, and I watched football soccer games, and my team was kind of doing pretty well during those days, and there were a few shows that we would play with Hideous Divinity. Uh, the there were rumors, I mean, we would probably end up doing a tour with Cannibal Corpse around that time too. So yeah, I have a pretty good memory of that moment. So, and the songs were pretty cool to play, and I mean, besides like I love the dude Tom, and I mean all the dudes from the band are sick, but
Yeah. Yeah, but that album is
they
great. It feels like I'm like
it's
in
pretty cool.
space. Hence like that album artwork, it just
Exactly.
feels very
That's yeah,
spacey.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. I think it tells the story of it retells the story of the concept pretty well, and they gave me pretty much all the artistic freedom that I felt that I need, and I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah. And then another session work you did, you've mentioned before, Deceptionist, you played bass on Initializing Irreversible Process, very techie kind of album. Tell me about like that.
Um, I mean, I love that band, and it's a shame that they also disbanded. And of course, I'm super friends with Antonio, who used to play with Ghouls, by the way. Um, so I couldn't say no when he approached me, and it was like, so I have this, record. I don't know any other bass players that would be down to do it. So you're doing it. It wasn't really like a question. It was more of a request. And but like all jokes aside, it was fun. It was great. That was very challenging for sure because those songs were super hard. But again, I think we tracked it all in, I guess, a day. I was super exhausted by by the end of that day, but yeah, it was great. There's a couple songs that I don't remember again the titles. I'm sorry, but I think the first one, um, it's one of the very first songs that I heard from the band
Yeah.
because
Was it just
the
begun or through the
I
veil?
think yeah through through the veil I think yeah because the, the they have put out like this EP like a year before or I don't even remember if it was just like the demo for for us but yeah so I immediately recognized the song uh, I wasn't, super excited about doing bass for tracking bass for that. So yeah, that was cool too.
Yeah. Then going back into Hideous Divinity, you did your second album with them, Advenius. Tell me about like making that. Did you feel like more comfortable being now that you're in the band for a little while? Did you add actually contributed more on that than you did with Cobra Verde?
I was that's fun because actually it was the other way around. because I kind of wrote like a few ways, like a couple of songs for Cobra, but with the thing is like the Enrico took care of the all the writing process. So in a way, yes, I think I felt a bit more comfortable because I only had to take care of like my bass duties. And yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, the this where flesh unfolds is one of my favorite tracks and passages too. I mean, you have this, they kind of represent the two opposites on the record because you have the super fast, catchy, short, kind of like metal-ish sounding song, which you did the playthrough for too, and then you have this kind of epic suite, like 7 minute long, with lots of different moments going on, lots of you know things happening at the same time, and that was the record when things started to get a little more technical and complex structure wise. So it was fun to learn the songs, but also like yeah, at the same time it's super interesting to yeah just work with that kind of music. And yeah, I have a pretty good memory of that too because it was we did quite a few tours for that record. We toured Canada, I think. Yeah, it was 2018 that we did the year 2 year tours, kind of back to back with the first one with Cattle Decapitation, second one with Origin, and it's both both experiences were super fun.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we toured quite a lot out of Venus. Now that I'm thinking about it, and it was our last record with a unique leader, and I love that it was also I think that yeah, it's the first record that we asked Vladimir Chebakov to design a cover for, and yeah, I mean I love the concept, the whole thing of this kind of self-mutating angel representing like the sign of times. That's a cool thing for sure.
Yeah, definitely a badass album artwork I've seen.
Thanks, man. Thanks, I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
And I also love like on Ages Die and Future and Red, you did like some audio samples from the movie Videodrome. So what made you decide to put those samples in those songs?
Again, we I mean, we always had this thing, it's kind of a trademark thing to combine more of a literary slash philosophical concept and the movie, and trying to make two things, like kind of have a conversation and combine it all with the music. And we like the concept behind Videodrome, and this kind of uh body horror philosophy behind the movie that kind of coupled very well with the music and the lyrical message they wanted to send with the record. So, you know, all hail the new flesh, and and yeah, I think it works pretty well, and it's really powerful. If you hit play and does the same, the first thing that like the plays, then that you hear, and we use that quite a lot for. I mean, I think yeah, we're still using that live for. It's on the beginning of the new, it's the beginning of the new Flash. It's so funny, um, and it makes so much sense because it's the beginning of the record, and it's kind of a new form that the band was shaping into. It was a new Flash, and of course that's also the concept of Videodrome, and you can see that kind of reflects on the cover as well. So I think it was kind of nicely tightly packaged.
All right. And then it was around well after that, I think you joined up with Aborted. So how did you end up hooking up with Sven and those guys? And tell me about making your first record with them, Terror Vision.
Oh, dude, oh, the memories. Yeah, this also of course gives me the opportunity to say hi to yeah, to the dudes. I love them. And so no, I mean, I, I had this YouTube channel. I mean, I still have it, but I don't really update it that much. Where in back in 2013, I started uploading um covers of the bands that I love the most, and plus the bands that I thought I could kind of work with, some way or another. And and when the guys released the Necrotic Manifesto, I was, dude, I thought that was one of the most extreme things that I listened to that I had listened to in a long time. And of course, the title track was so catchy, and I I heard like lots of potential in terms of bass playing in that song, and I was like, let me kind of rework that a little. So I did my thing with the song, but I mean that then things kind of went quiet for a little bit, and I think I messaged because they were touring the U.S. and Canada in 2014. I messaged Dean. Yeah, I messaged Dean for from Archspire because for like a very short period that there were like these talks about me joining them, but I was working, and then I mean I wasn't even sure. It would have been like super expensive for them to bring me on tour. Plus, I mean, they were just talks, but it was fun because I covered like one of their songs called "Lucy Collects an Ambulation," I think. But anyway, I'm digressing. I'm telling you this because I messaged Dean, and I asked them if he could show the dudes in the board of my cover, so like just for fun. And fast forward to 2016, I get a message from Tito, and it was like like Sven just wrote me, and like he was asking me if you will be down to like audition for them, looking for a bass player. Do you want me like to like put you through, or just two of you like in touch? And my jaw like literally dropped, and it was like, what the heck? And then of course I started talking to them, and I immediately quit my job, even though I had no guarantee that I would join them. But the opportunity was too big for me just to be just like, nah, I'm gonna like I'm gonna pass. So I met with them. We practiced. Then we played this show. I think, and it was in Germany with a. It was a very nice festival with Vader, Sacred Reich, and dude, it was incredible because it was my first ever show with them in front of like 4 or 5 thousand people, and I was like, God damn it! But it went great. And we played the second show, and the second show in Belgium with Cattle Decapitation as direct support. I mean, I was like, it was full of like those pinch me moments. Like, is this real? And after that second show, they all came to the backstage and were like, okay, so I mean, you're officially part of the band now. And I mean, one of the greatest experiences of my life for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but tell me about making this album. I thought this was definitely one of my favorite albums from 2018. So what was this like making this?
I was super, dude. I was super fond of the whole process because so Ian, Mendel, and I were at Mendel's home studio, and we did like the string part of the records, and I had such a good memory at that time because uh we kind of spent like 2 3 weeks together at Mendel's place, and of course we did the whole like 9 yards. We play video games, like, watch movies, watch Netflix, listen to other music, and either in the morning or at night we would track like maybe I don't know, Mandel would start, then Ian would join, and then I would follow up on bass, and it was great because I mean the whole the whole writing process was kind of lengthy. I think we went like back and forth for 2 years before actually entering the studio with the demos, and we worked them, then we worked them. So we felt like when we entered the studio, we had like a lot of music, and I think 3, 4 songs didn't even make it in the album, and they were all super sick, if you ask me. So we worked very, very hard for that. And Sven and Ken were at Polish studio in Germany, and of course, they did vocals and the drums. And I mean, it's kind of the way I see it. It's kind of the first record that it's the record that kind of marked a difference in aborted style, because up till Global Flatline, you have this really grungy, uh, carcassy, old Swedish death metal sounding kind of music. Then with Global, you have this kind of stronger Global and Necrotic, this still grindy, but you know, also looking at the more technical side of stream metal music. And with her vision, I think we uh set the bar even higher in terms of darkness, atmosphere, and even melody. And so yeah, I mean, like the title track and the exquisite communist drama,
Yeah.
and what else?
Yeah, there's like
Um,
Vespertine Decay, the
Vespertine
Visceral
Decay, yeah,
Despondency.
Visceral
Like,
Despondency, yeah, were all songs that I mean, those were all very. It was super entertaining to play in record because all those single riffs, um, some of those were kind of a bitch to play, but they were all very satisfying because the way that the arrangements, dude. I mean, we could be we could be talking about that for hours, but yeah. So I don't know. It felt like a kind of a big moment for me. I mean, besides being for the first record that I played with that I recorded, with Aborted, but it felt like a different record, and kind of like you know we could do something extra, and I was super proud of being part of that, and that was my first record with them. And we actually did quite like some cool things, because we did the tour in Europe with of United and Cryptopsy and Cytotoxin, and most of the shows were sold out. And then we toured the U.S. with
yeah,
the one I
yeah,
was touching you about with
yeah, that we mentioned. Was that like your first time ever in the States?
my first time ever was actually on the Metal Cruise in 2018.
Oh,
Also, like
70,000 tons of metal.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I went on there,
The
I went on there, but there for the first time, and it was amazing.
Oh, you were on that edition.
No, not that edition, this year's edition.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, dude, it's such a cool experience, dude.
it
Yeah,
was like I was in paradise. Like I've never been on a cruise before, and it was like the bluest the sea I've ever seen ever.
there's a few moments the whole trip that just make it all super worthwhile. So
Yeah.
that was it, my first time I got to the States, but just I can it would be more accurate to say that I just landed in the States. But my first full American experience would be the Devastation on the Nation tour, the one where we met,
Yeah, yeah, that
the
was
one we
actually
just
my was
recorded.
my second time ever seeing Aborted because I saw them a few years prior back in 2015.
What was it tour like Fit for and Autopsy and Archspires?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. That was like my first time seeing Arcspire. You're live. I think I missed Fit for an Autopsy set because my friend of mine wanted to leave early, so I missed Fit's set.
Gotcha. Okay, okay.
Show, but that was great. I think Mendel remembered me from that show because I had did like a review of Necrotic Manifesto, and he actually recognized me from there.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah,
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 and
yeah.
and he actually
I mean,
remembered me again at that at the Devastation show, and that was a fun show. It was like you guys, I think it was Aborted, Ingested, Psychroptic. I can't remember all the bands. That was a fun
the
show.
Arcade, Decent Tomb, and Venom Prison, and I can't remember if Velo Nas. I mean, I can't remember if Signs of the Swarm uh already replaced Velo Nav uh by that show. But I mean, the package was super sick. I mean, and just this Tomb, Cycroptic, it was, and you have this, like the the breather moment, so to say, that I mean, that says a lot with Cycroptic, because first you have this very slam, like super heavy hitters with Ingested and Distant Tomb, and then things would go like fast again with us. I'll do the memories. Oh my god, like that tour was so much fun, especially to me because, like I said, it was my first time in the States, and all those like micro, super funny like cultural shocks, and it was amazing, dude. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
Terrorvision, it was like, because that was the tour right after Terrorvision, so
yeah.
it was still kind of in the wake of the whole like recording process, and yeah, great record.
Yeah. Then kind of going back into the Hideous Divinity, in 2019 you did Simulacrum. I thought that was a really great album. So tell me about like that album.
Yeah, it was our first record with Century Media, so
Yeah.
we were all like pretty nervous, about like successfully pulling it off, and I like the very kind of bright metallic tone that's some of those songs have. I really like what Stefano did on that record. What I mean, of course, that is the dude that makes them produce like and mastered all of the haters and new records up to date. And so yeah, it was sick, and also I love the concept with the monster, or with the monster at the center of the artwork, kind of being a follow up to Athenian. So you see this the angel kind of mm, not doing very well if you look at it, with this
Yeah.
like mask, like very painfully, like ferociously pulling off of his face, and that was also kind of a symbol, kind of a metaphor for what we wanted to do with our music, and also the concept of the whole um like the difference between the concept of difference and identity, coupled again with crazy movies that was Lost Highways, um by David Lynch. So it felt like super. It was like a heavy in terms of commitment. It was an important record that we felt. Also because, like I told you, like I said, it was our first record with Century Media, and but we got great feedback from the dudes, especially from Philip, um, the owner of Century Media. It was super supportive all the time, and so yeah, that was freaking great.
Yeah. Yeah. And I loved like especially in that same year you toured the US for the first time with Hideous Divinity. And I like we touched upon it before. You did like you played like a double set with Aborted and Hideous Divinity. So what was that
Exactly.
like playing like two sets?
It was dude, it was deadly. I mean, it was fun. Actually, I thought it'd be worse. but I guess because there were like two bands in between his Divinity and Aborted, I had the time to, like
Catch your breath.
yeah, catch my breath and freshen up a little bit too. And also, since the set with his Divinity wasn't that long, it almost felt like a very good warm up before I went on stage. But by the time I finished my set with Aborted, oh, did man, I was dead tired. But because the whole the whole schedule was kind of crazy because with Hidden Divinity, of course, being the first band, we would sound check most of the time, so that means being there on time for load in, so do sound check, and then do sound check again with no, sorry, do sound check with the board, and then of course do line check with Hidden Divinity. Then having no time for dinner because we would have to, you know, get on stage like half hour later, but then not being able to have dinner, like after the set because then I would have to play with the board it. And after the set, by the time we, you know, broke off all the stage and the drum set and all that kind of stuff, I was, like able to take a shower or have dinner like at 1 a.m. So the days were all super very busy, and also because I think we played 30 shows in 31 days. The only day off, so to say, was the one in between, I think, Denver and Seattle, because the distance is pretty brutal. So we couldn't do that in one sitting. And but that was it. That was the only
Yeah,
day off.
that's
And but
crazy.
I mean, it was fun, and I had, like the shows. I think in even the first one in Detroit was great, and the show that we played in Denver, Chicago, and Toronto. I mean, there were lots of shows that they have very good memories of. So
Yeah.
that tour was yeah, it was super sick.
Yeah, yeah, especially like I think it was like the first time like Aborted had did like VIP meet and greets because I remember getting one for the Atlanta show.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did that. We did that. But we did that before it started. It would be like fancy and stupidly expensive. It was just an opportunity to be goofy, like right before the set with our fans, because I think we charged pretty much just the price of the shirt and like and the merch. So it was just more of an excuse like to hang out, before the set started. But and thanks for the support, by the way.
Hell yeah, anytime. And I know you toured for a little bit, and then that certain virus that shall not be named happened, and then I know with Aborted in 2020 you did the La Grande Masquerade EP. I loved this EP. Tell me about like how these songs came to be. Were there like some songs left over from TerraVision, or was it just kind of like you wanted it like a
Yeah,
one-off kind of thing?
one of them, yeah. I think the third, Funereal Malediction, if I'm not mistaken, or
Yeah.
something like that. And so that was supposed to be in television, but like you said, we had like 75-minute worth of music, and we could just, I mean, technically, we everything could fit in the record, but fans would just lose interest like halfway. So we decided to keep some of those songs for, I don't know, like a different project. Like for example, that one that was came in pretty handy, all things considered. And but two of the songs were originally written for that EP, like specifically. So, and we even played, I think, I can't remember who was like Serpent. Uh, Help me out there.
Serpent of Depravity.
Serpent of the Paradise. So yeah, we played that on the boat in 2020, right before the virus that should not be named like happened. And
Yeah.
dude, that's so fun because I was in the boat. I think it was like late January, early February, and I remember seeing like the first like news headlines, and I would laugh at them. I'd be like, "Oh, like people are exaggerating like this whole thing. But yeah, I mean they were kind of right. So yeah, the EP was, I mean the recording was pretty smooth. It was just the three songs, but I like the whole, yeah, the concept, also the artwork, and how just three songs like kind of tie in nicely with each other. Considering one was from television, and two the first two, like I said, were written just for the EP.
Yeah, yeah, I thought it was a good like little thing. It's only like three songs, but it's just like it kicks ass all the way through.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I know in that same year in 2020, you did some more session work. You worked with Sots with Popolva. Tell me about that.
Yeah, Joao, the dude from the band, we've been friends for a few years, and I think we met during one of the award shows. I think Vagos Metal Fest in Portugal in 2019, and then I think we played Portugal again on tour with Entombed that we did the year before the record I think came out. So he just like um, wrote me and asked if I'd be down for um, like laying bass tracks for the record, and the guys were also very nice, and it was a great pleasure working with them, and I love doing bass for those guys because the music like so much different from what I was used and I'm still used like to play, and having the possibility of to catch my breath like a little and pull back a bit compared to the millions of notes that we usually play with both boarded and here's the way. That was definitely a rewarding experience.
Yeah, totally. And then I guess the next thing I want to talk about is, of course, in 20 going to 2021 with Hideous Divinity, you did the LV 426 EP. I thought that was a really good EP. Tell me about like that. How did that come to be?
We, I mean, the whole concept behind the P was the spark, I think, because it was kind of an excuse to like musically translate our homage to Alien. So, and plus we had to do something in order not to go crazy during those months. So we just got together. We wrote those songs, and like I mentioned before, we did discover Oko Hidden Cambria.
Which is a great
Um,
cover, by the way.
it's thanks, man. It was. I think we. No, I can't remember if we ever played it live. I think once we played it live once, and I mean, Acheron Stream of Woe, the first song was kind of like a watershed moment, if you know what I'm saying, like in terms of songwriting, because that was the song that, if you hear the samples, that that gave us the opportunity to dig a little bit deeper into the whole like cinematic approach that we you know that we have that we've been that we'd had with our music since that year pretty much. And that was also the time I think Enrico started experimenting a little more with the sound design and stuff like that. So having this Tom Hits kind of recreating the and accompanying the chord progression of one I think that the theme from Aliens, and so that was very, I think that was very impactful if you ask me. And that with Cheers Burst, um, we kind of went the opposite way. It's more of a in your face kind of song, and it's a very it's it's kind of more Hades Divinity, like whole old Hades Divinity sounding, and then plus the cover. It was fun to play. It was fun to do something during that time, and that also gave us the opportunity to like expand our set list a little more for when you know better times will come, which they eventually did. So yeah.
Yeah. And then of course going in 2020 you joined up with with Hammer of Dawn and you did the Keter EP in 2020 in May of that year. So how'd you end up hooking up with Keter? Or
Oh, Mac. Yeah, Mac. Just we've been friends for a while, and he asked me if I was interested in, playing bass for the first very interesting project, by the way. And he had a very clear vision right from the start because he wanted to do the EP, but he already had in mind like a part two of like this whole thing, and that was also I think how I worked together kind of separately, of course, but Sven was also in the first EP, and Enrico, the singer from Divinity as well. And the songs again, they're all very obscure sounding, like kind of atheist, like sounding in a bit too. And I felt very much at home with that kind of music. And I think also the song from the second EP, Buns Out Blacks, so that's definitely one of my favorite tracks. And I'm super grateful for that experience, and I thank Mike for letting me play bass on on those two EPs. And yeah, that was fun for sure.
yeah. And then kind of want to talk going also in 2021 you did Mania Cult by Aborted, another one of my favorite albums from that year. So what was the thought process going into making this record?
Of course, we had to work. All of us had to work separately from home for obvious reasons, but it we'd actually, I mean, we couldn't really tell the difference because we cooperated, we collaborated so much. I mean, we stayed in touch. We virtually hung together for like, like every day between 2020 and 2021. And also, I remember like the whole. I was kind of I felt very involved in the the development of the concept behind this very like Lovecraftian kind of the horror dimension. And man, like some of those songs like hit really hard. Maniacal, I think, like the opener, the title track. I mean, it's not really the opener. It's just the intro, of course, but it's one of those songs that's man, it just hits super hard. And the middle section, it's so heavy and so epic. I just love listening to that song. I think what's that line? High monolithic silver tongue will put you to your death or something like that. And it works super well with the whole like the vocal pattern. And no, I mean, I think it's an amazing record, and I love playing. I think I loved having the opportunity to play at least like a few of those songs um on those like festivals that we did together in 2022.
Yeah.
And yeah, so definitely a sick record.
Yeah, and what was it like, of course, working with Joe from Fit for an Autopsy and Ben from Shadow of Intent on the Mania Cult and the Folly of the Gods?
Yeah, like I said, it's the I think we couldn't have had better singers for just two songs because the Folly is one of those more it's definitely one of the darker songs on the record. And I think his like Van's guttural sounds, like guttural vocals, just do the song like justice for sure. And Joe Forfeit, like I mean, I've been telling you about the maniacal song, and the way that he interprets the chorus, the breakdown parts makes the song super satisfying to listen to, headbangs to. And I mean, even like if you think about the like the first riff, the way that the songs kicks in, it's just it's very exciting. And
Yeah.
yeah, we love working with those guys. Like, I mean, we known them for a while, and I mean, we've been, of course, we worked on the last record too. But yeah, we always had a thing for guest musicians and guest vocalists, and it's it's been paying off, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know with of course the upcoming Aborted album, which was the last album you played on, I thought that like the first two singles I've heard, Dreadbringer and the Death Cult, I thought was good. So with that new album, what made you guys decide to have like every song have a guest spot?
It's I think it's because differently from the rest of the records, Savannah had a clear vision for this one, and I think it all, mm, it's the fact that he wanted to have like this record feel more like a horror anthology, like the Cabinet of Curiosity kind of equivalent of musical equivalents, have like different episodes, different stories, different actors, and which is pretty much what happened with the Vaults of Horrors, because it's literally a vault of all the horror classics. So you have each song kind of standing for representing one of our favorite horror movies, and we wanted to have the kind of gifts. So say like those guest vocalists, and that were all like part of the aborted history in a way or another. So like Van, we have worked with them for a while. We had them on Maniacal, and we want to repeat that, and and I think, like I said, it paid off greatly with the Dreadbringer. His vocals are such a great match for the riffs, and of course the Spice Icon, Cryptopsy, Hall from Engulfed, and Jason from Ingest. I mean, those are all like family. Those dudes are family, and those are all like bands that we either tour with or work together, and so we wanted to make it like a community record. So kind of. So I think that's the main reason behind it. And plus, I mean, it's so much fun just to have like all those amazing artists, like all of them together in the same place.
Yeah. And then of course, like I said, this new album is of course your last record with Aborted. So how hard was it to leave Aborted?
I was it was pretty hard, man. Um, I have been thinking about it for quite a while, because when I started working, when I started my PhD, it was still those years where the whole music industry hadn't fully resumed. So it was pretty fitting, was pretty convenient for me to do both things, because I wouldn't have to tour full time, or if I had to play like a few shows here and there, that would that would have worked. But with and thankfully so, um, with everything just going back to like it used to be right before the pandemic, and my like my duties requiring more and more time with PhD, I couldn't just combine two things. I couldn't make it work, and I would have I would have hated myself the rest of my life if I stalled like the band even for just like, I don't know, like a few months. So when uh when when the possibility, I mean, when the certainty of not being able to the stores came up, I just wanted to tell them like first thing. So they had me record the bass tracks, so they could, of course, do the just two American tours, and and I'm super excited of having the like having had the opportunity to play like a surprise show with them last year in Ohio. But yeah, man, it was super sad because, like I said, it wasn't just the that didn't mean just like leaving a very successful band playing with you know that I kind of grew up with as well because Aborted was one of those like more extreme metal bands that I started listening to when I was still a teenager. So of course it had like a much greater significance in terms of not just being able to play the song, but more importantly, um, that meant that I would leave, you know, like another family because like every time that we were together, the those were like the best times of my life. So, and facing the reality and not being able to do that anymore, that was that was super frustrating and super sad. But at the same time, um, I'm so lucky to like have made those memories together with them, and I couldn't wish them like I just wish them like the greatest successes and then all the very best.
Yeah. And do you still keep in touch with like Sven, Ken, Ian, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Daniel?
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, we still like talk to each other, of course, a bit less frequently because most of the time we, of course, we talk business. But I mean, I've been friends with them since I joined the band. We've been on vacation. We spent a couple times together, and we're still in touch. And so, I mean, I'll tell him in person too. But it's fan, in case you're watching or hearing this podcast, but I just want you to know that Rome is always, like always ready to welcome you. So anytime. And no, but I mean, yeah, the I love the dudes for sure.
Oh yeah. And then of course not that of course in like 3 weeks from today we have the new Hideous Divinity Unextinct, which comes out literally the day before my birthday. So good early birthday present. So well, so tell me about like
That's
the
awesome,
making of
man.
the album, and sort of like what was the thought process going into it, how this album came to be and that good stuff.
Yeah, we like pretty much with the EP, and I would say at this point all the rest of the record, we wanted to do something around one of the staples of horror culture, horror fiction, which is Nosferatu. And but at the same time, with the title Uninstinct, which means, of course, not extinguished, still burning, no matter what. We wanted to like pair it with the concept of utter of the like the complete the utter destruction that we bring into the world, and which still manages like to kind of pull it off, even though we're doing like pretty much like anything in our capability that choose to bring it down. But and then of course the music. Mm, we wanted to create something. The and I think someone on YouTube kind of noticed already. We wanted to create the darkest music that we could possibly can. Um, so yeah, I mean, there are a few songs that are uh they're almost like 10 minutes long, and it's a very it's got a like a, it's got a lot of moments where you're like the songs, for example, like slow down, and there's this like melodic or atmospheric breakdown parts that I think are very adequate for telling the story um that we tell in the album. And also, if you could, I mean, you could probably tell from the tints, the colors of the video clip. It's all like very, like I said, like kind of bleak and like dull in a like horror positive meaning, and like I said, very dark. And that's how I feel when I listen to anything. And of course, there's still the Hideous Divinity signature riffs, like intricate, very complex, like time signature stuff without like getting hyper crazy. But yeah, I think it feels like something new. Now I'm not sure if it marks or not like a new era for Hideous Divinity, but personally I think it kind of does. And we're we're super happy with the direction that we're going. And you would you would hear also like a few samples here and there that were gonna make you like, huh, okay, I know that. So and of course we wanted to focus on the uh like plague written, full of rats kind of side of Nosferatu rather than the gothic love story of Coppola, which of course I love to, by the way, but we wanted something more, like putrid, like I said, like deadly, darker, and which is why, of course, we took we took Mordnau's Nosferatu and Herzog Nosferatu adaptation. So I can't wait to have you guys like listen and to check it all check it all out. And we're also, of course, going to release the new single, I think right before the record comes out or the day of. But yeah, just like I said, I can't wait for you all to listen to it.
Yeah, and musically, did you want to continue in the same vein as Simulacrum, or did you want to try something new or different that you haven't done before?
Yeah, I'd say yeah, okay. I couldn't find the word, but I think this one feels and sounds a bit more introspective. And if I could give you like a full technical description, I'm not sure I'd be able to do that. But yeah, like I said, some of those songs are very, very long, and I think they give us enough space to let the riffs breathe a little bit, and also kind of tell a story, not just in terms of the lyrics, but musically speaking. Even I mean, even if you listen to the Numinous one, the first song that we released, it's got it all. So it has the brutality, the kind of like defines Hideous Divinity somewhere or another, but also had this very satirical like melodic parts in the middle, and then it's also like a kind of a meta musical record in a way that some of those riffs kind of reflect on themselves. So for example, you have the Numinous one with the syncopated like beginning kind of that that plays again toward the end of the song. And that's kind of the same pattern but in a different like key that we do in Against the Sovereignty of Mankind. So we have like all those songs like speaking to each other, and that's I think what makes it different from the rest of our records,
All
and
right.
which is why I recommend you all get this record and listen to it and give us your feedback.
Yeah. And of course, and of course, you have like the singles that have been out now, such as the Numinous one, Against the Sovereignty of Mankind, and Mysterium Trendum. So how have been like the reaction with those songs so far?
Oh, it's been great, man. I think the first one, the first video clips got more views than ever. Like video wise. I mean, we're not one of those bands that you know would churn like 1 million views like in a month kind of metal bands, but the like the reaction when was surprisingly amazing, and not that it wasn't it wasn't as good with our previous records, but I don't know. It's I can see more of a cohesive reaction to this break. Like they pretty much like agree on the quality, on the sincerity of it in a way. And yeah, it's mind blowing to see like all those like people just like typing their um like their positive comments and under the song or just sharing it. And yeah, it's been good so far. And we haven't played a single show to support the record, so I could just can't wait to play our first release parties and bring Unixing like out there.
Yeah. And what would you say would be like the overall message for Unextinct?
um hmm, that's that's got me thinking. The overall message would be, no matter how close to mortality we are, and it was still it won't stop burning. It won't stop burning. And that's it. No matter how close to, that's a very difficult question to answer. As yeah, it's I think it's about dark resilience. Because like the ability to persist no matter what.
All right.
And we kind of, yeah, I think we kind of try to achieve it, both with the artwork and the music, and also of course the lyrics, because that, like I said, kind of revolves around Nosferatu, which is exactly the emblem of what I've just been talking about.
Yeah. And how did like the idea to make it like inspired by Nosferatu?
um I think it was it felt like the right truth, like the right story to tell. Because compared to other, I think, horror figures, I don't know if you think of the like the classics, the either whether it be the like the Mummy or Frankenstein, or um you know the vampire as it all, and and it's such like a versatile figure. To it's got a very unique predisposition to adapt to different sorts of different aesthetics, different styles of music, and also, of course, fiction and cinema. And also, I think more practically would be because Enrico de Talpere is a huge Herzog fan, and so I think that also made the choice a little bit easier.
All right. And kind of wanted to talk about like your bass playing because, as a bassist, I know you've heard your fair share of like bass player jokes and memes and all that stuff. But I think that you don't gravitate towards flashy bass playing, but instead I feel like you find ways to link what the guitars are doing with the melody and what the drums are doing with the rhythm, but in your own like creative sense. So, what is like your approach to slap of the bass?
My pursuit left the bass is following the drums as close as possible, without neglecting the the melodic soul of the song. And I know, as cliche as this sounds, I just like I think when I write a bass line, I think about how um I would perform it on stage, because I really like to connect with the drums. And but at the same time, I also enjoy doing my own thing. So which is why I don't like overplay like my stuff, which is something I had to be honest, I had to admit. was, something that I used to do like a few years back. But then I felt like I'm a bass player. I should have, if I wanted to like fill all the gaps, all the spaces, I should have, I don't know, like picked up the piano or just, like be a guitar player. And it, I think it feels really good just to, like lay the whole like the groundwork and, uh, you know, be the like the low end wall of sound that support the whole like uh structure edifice of a song. And but when it's part a moment where I'm like, oh, okay, I think I could throw like in like a few notes here and there. I like to, for example, like the ending part of the against the certainty of mankind, where I go like I do like a little tapping thing. I just visualize it. I know we're talking about music, but I could like I could view it, I could see and feel, um and that's I think the power of the Rico's music, because it makes it very easy for me to just like find the right spot where to do something either unusual or just a little bit different. But with this record in particular, it was cool to, like play some dissonant parts. For example, there's this song on the record, it's called Quasi Sentient, and the beginning is super. I mean, you'll notice it's super slow. It feels like almost, um I don't know, like a dark ballad. It's a very down tempo, at least like the first 40, 50 seconds. And with the bass, I literally just play open like chords. And I had to thank Stefano, our producer, for being able to craft a tone that gave me the possibility of cutting through like the mix without making it sound like either muddy or sloppy or whatever. It's all super surgically like precise. And so yeah, that's how I like to approach my music now. Just, like do the bass player. Just, like do what I'm paid for.
Yeah, awesome. So anyway, got a couple more questions for you. Yeah, in terms of like your live shows, like with of course with Hideous Divinity and with a boarded, is there like like any similarities or differences between like playing live versus like recording an album? Are there similarities or are there differences between the two?
There there are like a few differences for sure. First of all, like the time and the setting that you have to focus and relax. For example, when you're, um I mean, it could go both ways, but I think when you're recording something, you have all the time, so kinda all the time and space that you need to focus exactly on what you want that part to sound like. And of course, when you're on stage, it's all real, like real time. And but at the same time, that's also kind of release me of all the stress of, you know, making making it sound absolutely perfect, which is always like a target, like a goal. I'm oriented towards when I'm on stage. So like on a practical level, they're of course really different dimensions, but at the same time, um, I like to, if you know what I'm saying, like I like to approach studio recording as if I'm playing a live show, but and at the same time, I like to get on stage as if someone is recording a single note that I'm playing.
Mm, awesome. And then of course the final question I want to talk about is like your bass gear because I think you have like a really sick bass tone and gear stuff. So I'm always curious like what's like your bass like what kind of basses you play, like strings, amps, pedals, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I've been using a Valenti, a custom-made Valenti bass guitar. I mean, I could send you the technical specs if you want to be curious. I don't have it at hand with me right now, but it's the sickest bass and that I've ever played. It makes the playing like the real job a lot easier. And it's made the body's made of blood limba. Which is this if I'm not mistaken, is this kind of very dense Brazilian wood with some with ebony top. Ebony is also the fretboard wood, and the neck is maple, I think. Yeah. Using EMG pickups, and I mean the bass sounds like feels alive. It's got such a great sustains, and you you have to mute the strings because like the resonance is it's so strong, it's so vibrant. And strings that I've been using are Elixir strings, in which are again the best strings that I've ever put my hands on. They they last like a lifetime, and which is a good thing for bass players because we don't really like to change our strings too much, and they're also like kind of expensive. But I have to thank my bass dealer from Algen Benelux from Belgium for supplying me with lots of string sets. So I'm really grateful for that. And I've been using Dark Glass P7K coupled with Dark Glass uh, Alpha Micron, I think. Yeah, the small version, plus an EBS compressor and noise suppressor. And I don't really go through uh, an amp or a amper. I mean, I go digital, but it's all very straightforward. So, and I like it that way because I'm not really like a tech nerd. Once I dial up my tone and I like it, I just use that for pretty much the I don't know the rest of the tour or the year even. And because I don't really switch from one tone to another during my set list, and when I record something, um, the the tone I've been using is kind of stored like digitally in the on the whole like the DAW that we've been using with Stefano for the records. And I'm talking of course about the Hideous Divinity. So it's really easy that way.
Awesome. So, kind of like in the end to wrap things up, what's next for Hideous Divinity? We got the new album coming out March 22nd. Is just anything else you'd like to plug in terms of tours and stuff? And when can we expect Hideous Divinity to tour the States again?
Maybe I think it's probably next year. We're working on something. We're looking to um trying to get the right tour to go back to the States because I mean we would love to do that, but I see that happen most likely next year, so 2025. So uh uh for you in terms of Europe, like just European fans, you'd expect a lot of shows because we just like we've been announcing quite a few festivals for a while, so we do have um like a good run of shows lined up, and there's more to come. So yeah, definitely a tour is in the is just in the plans, and so yeah, I mean the usual. But I think we'll try. We're gonna tour pretty extensively out of anything because yeah, we want to play as many songs live as possible out of this record, and so yeah, just keep your eyes and ears open.
Yeah. So, thank you, Steph, for this conversation. It's great to be able to have you on my show. It's just any
Oh,
final
thank
words you
you.
want to
Like I said.
say? Is there just any final words you want to say to the viewers that are watching this to close this out?
No, I think I said it all, but like as a just a final remark, thank you so much for your great feedback and all your appreciation, and that means a lot to us. And also, personally, thank you so much, Richard, for having me. It's great talking to you. It's great being able to like talk a little bit of my about my life as a musician and history. Like you said, that doesn't really happen all the time. So thank you so much for that.
Anytime, man. So everybody, Stefano Franceschini from Hideous Divinity. See you next time.